Hey guys, it's the Strength Kara here. So today we're going to go through some of the best exercise for runners. Now, running is a very popular activity that many people all over the world do. And the demands of running are actually different depending on the intensity of how you're running. For example, if you're doing a slow jog and say you're just jogging around the block, it's a very easy type of jog, then the demands are going to be quite different to someone who, say, is a field sports athlete. Maybe they play soccer and they have to charge out the ball. So the demands of running are actually quite different depending on the athlete or the context of the person. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't not do some of the exercises. I think that there is more appropriateness in selecting some exercises over others if you are indeed more so of an elite athlete or you're a track runner as compared to, say, the everyday Joe who likes to jog around their block. Now, talking about demands of the sport, I'm gonna talk, and I'm also gonna have some of the exercises on the side of the screen here. So the first exercise I would say for running would actually be barbell back squats. And the reason for this is that actually they help with strengthening the knee tendons and also loading all the muscles of the leg, which includes the quads, which includes the hamstring muscles, which includes the glutes, even the calves and some of the muscles in the front of the leg, the tibia anterior. So I believe that barbell back squats, specifically squats, are going to be one of the main exercises that someone who runs should do. The more of the other exercises I believe that runners should do is actually some sort of lunge or single leg split squat variation, and there's loads of variations out there. One that I would recommend is simply just a Bulgarian split squat, where one person may have their leg on top of a chair or on top of a bench, and then they're loading up one leg at a time, just in the front. Yes, there is going to be some load in the back of on the leg that's supported, but predominantly we're loading up that front leg. There's plenty of other exercises, barbell split squat. We can do really any single exercise, even a lunge, but with, say, dumbbell or kettlebell weights. A lunge, but maybe in a carrying position like this, so more up there rather than down to the sides of the body. There's plenty of variations, but some sort of variation like that as well. Now, the other exercises as well, guys, I would definitely recommend any sort of hip thrust or glute intensive exercise. So like I said, a hip thrust, or we could do a glute bridge but weighted. All these exercises that really strengthen the glutes are going to be really helpful as well with the demands of that sport or that activity. I would also do some sort of hamstring exercise. Specifically, isometrics are shown to be quite effective for the hamstrings, specifically when we're running and we're doing that swing phase of our hamstring. That's actually an isometric contraction, and I'll show you one of the articles over here just quickly, and if you guys want to read about it, have a look. But the summary of the article basically just says that isometrics are predominantly what happens in the hamstring when we run. And that isometric contraction enables that force to be transferred between the femur or the upper leg to the lower leg quite well. And basically there's no movement occurring in the hamstring per se, it's just swinging, but that isometric contraction allows those very thin and parallel, that's the muscle type of the hamstring, muscles to both absorb and release that energy when running. So that's quite interesting. So some sort of isometric with the hamstring is going to be quite helpful. I would also even put in there some sort of eccentric focus exercise for the hamstring, such as a Nordic hamstring raise or Nordic, any type of those Nordic exercises, which I'll put in a video right here. Now, the last types of exercises that actually do some sort of calf strengthening, and calves are extremely important. You have your Achilles, okay? Your Achilles is that big tendon that runs at the back of your lower leg and basically inserts at the bottom of the foot. And that tendon is so important with the absorption and the release of energy when we're running, okay, guys? So basically there's a similar thing that happens in that lower leg. So that calf is actually an isometric contraction when we run, and really the only thing that's moving is the tendon, the Achilles, which is absorbing and releasing the energy. So that is why we need to train the calves not only in an isometric fashion, but I also believe that moving that muscle as well, concentrically, eccentrically, to build up the load tolerance of the Achilles tendon, of the calf muscles, the gastroc, the soleus is going to be great. I also believe that we need to do some sort of soleus exercise as well. Soleus, what people usually forget is that the soleus is really important in running as well. It basically is that smaller calf muscle underneath the gastroc. The gastroc is the showy muscle that looks like a big tennis ball almost behind that knee, or below that knee, sorry. So the soleus actually works at any angle where the knee is bent at 90 degrees, guys. So that is quite an important thing that we should do. And we can do a couple of things like this soleus slow walk, and that's really going to load that soleus muscle quite a lot. Okay, and lastly, I would definitely train or make sure that we have enough dorsiflexion in the foot. And the muscle that controls dorsiflexion is the anterior, the tibialis anterior and then tibialis posterior. And we really need to make sure that we have enough range in that ankle, guys, to clear the ground when we run. Because if we don't, we're going to load up the wrong muscle groups, really. Okay, if we don't have enough range in that tib ant, we're going to start to load up the muscle. Okay, we're going to load up the tib ant rather than the Achilles tendon and the gastroc, which we are supposed to load. Okay, so training that end range dorsiflexion is going to be really important as well. So yeah, guys, in a nutshell, I'm going to just relist all the exercises. We need a barbell back squat. Okay, we also need any single leg variation of the squat as well, or a lunge. Third thing we need is some sort of hip focused exercise, such as a glute bridge or a barbell hip thrust. The fourth exercise would have to be an isometric hamstring exercise, okay, such as this Roman seated chair or single leg seated chair, which I'll show on the screen there. The fourth is going to be a Nordic hamstring curl as well. A lot of people won't be able to do the concentric portion, but we can always do the eccentric portion and have a little bit of help from the bands or our own arms pushing up. And then the last exercise is going to be more so with the lower leg. So obviously the calf, so any sort of concentric, eccentric calf training, even mixing in isometric with a calf, the tib anterior muscle groups as well. And that's basically all, guys. So these are all the best exercises in my honest opinion for runners. And what I was alluding to in the start of the video was the demand. So guys, we also need to have some sort of plyometric exercise as well when we do train for running or for sprinting. Okay, so plyometrics in a nutshell is training more so the coordination of the muscle and the tendon. Okay, and it really is quite important, especially with dynamic movement or powerful movement. Okay, guys, specifically sprinting or say you're tracking down like a soccer ball or running after something quite intensely. We need to have stiffness. We need to have very good stiffness and coordination of our muscles in the lower leg, like our calf and hamstring, so that those muscles are stiff enough so the tendons can take the load, the absorption and reabsorption of explosive activity or load. So that as well, guys, I'm going to put on the screen just a simple video that I made a long time ago to kind of start out your plyometrics as well. But that's something that we need to have graded exposure to, is some sort of plyometric as well. And depending on the type of athlete you are, the more intensive the plyometrics need to be, guys, okay, because they need to meet the demands of the sport or activity that you're doing. So yeah, guys, that's the video in a nutshell. I really hope that you've learned a lot, and I'll see you in the next one. Strength Caro signing out.